Kellyanne Conway is the campaign manager for Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. How are you, Kellyanne? Do you get any sleep?
I'm 1 hour, Sean, and it shows.
Oh, stop it. Now, you and I both have something in common. We both have been portrayed on Saturday Night Live. Did you see it?
I did see it. I thought it was hysterical. It captured my busy life with 4 great children really well.
You know what? What's really cool is Kellyanne was in our studio not that long ago, and she brought her son, who's such a great kid. And he and we had the best time. We were playing football for about 15, 20 minutes. We had a great time. And he's a great athlete.
You inspired him. Oh, thank you.
All right, let's go to last night's debate. You know what's sad about what the lead up to this debate was? Oh, it's over. That's how the media wrote this. I wrote a big column about it yesterday. But the reality is the same media that, as I pointed out with the Media Research Center, that paid so much attention in the last 48 hours trying to put the final nail in Donald Trump's coffin and advance a narrative, they'd never done the proper vetting, asked any of the questions that Donald Trump got to bring up last night. It was the single most dominating prosecution of how unfit any one individual, Hillary Clinton, is for office that I have ever seen in any presidential debate. It was that powerful. Your thoughts?
It was indeed. And it was a multi-level attack on her and her record as Secretary of State, which is a complete disaster. Her unremarkable record as United States Senator, and certainly the way she treated the women that you so deftly addressed in your lead-in. And Sean, look, people have to ask themselves, if somebody has been doing something for 30 years and you are hard-pressed to name the fruits of that labor, to talk about the deliverable, the product, the positive effect on people's lives, why in the world would you promote them to the top slot? This is easy, folks. Don't overcomplicate this election, please. This is future versus past, change versus more of the same, failed typical politician versus successful businessman, Washington insider, whose friends and allies and cronies benefit from a rigged, corrupt system, and somebody who has no skin in that game would disrupt the entire system. Don't overcomplicate this. You know, Sean, many Americans have decided they do not want to vote for Hillary Clinton, but some of them are still looking for a reason to vote for Donald Trump. And I think last night, him effectively prosecuting her record on Obamacare, on ISIS, on Syria, on Libya, on Benghazi, on the emails, on just her partnership with Barack Obama around the globe when she was Secretary of State. I think his effective prosecution really calls into question whether this woman should be President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief of our Armed Forces.
You know, I couldn't agree anymore. To me, I've broken down the election into different parts. One is the foreign policy failure of Clinton and Obama. Boy, and she was wrong about the red line in the sand. That was August of 2012. She was still Secretary of State, so what she said was a lie. But that's on top of many other lies. But then you got Benghazi. That was her failure. 600 denied requests before, no help given while Americans are under fire, and then lies afterwards. Then lies about an email server. Then lies about the Clinton Foundation. Then lies about Benghazi. And then you got to look at the economic results. I won't repeat my statistics, which I do every day, but they're disastrous. She can't run on that economy, that economic record. She can't run on foreign policy, the creation of ISIS, the failure in Iraq and Syria, as we discussed, and our embracing of Mohammed Morsi, guy who called the Israelis descendants of apes and pigs. So they went for the character issue. But the problem is they've got far bigger character issues than Donald Trump's words, and that is their deeds. That is the systematic slander, smear, besmirching of women who have dared to speak out about their behavior. And I thought this was just so powerful last night. And a lot of people said it was a risky move. It's nothing less than I would expect from Donald Trump, to just tell the truth.
Well, that's right. And people saw in front of 88 million wide audience, Sean, in the first debate at Hofstra University, that he very publicly decided not to go, quote, rough on her because her family was there. And, you know, I think in careful review, he realized that she had no such graciousness and restraint. She went right after him, and frankly went after him for things that had nothing to do with the questions asked or the issues being raised in that debate. She went there with a 5 or 6 point checklist. She was absolutely going to pivot to these issues and these individuals no matter what else happened in that debate, and it was effective for her. Well, it turns out she can dish it out, but she can't take it very well because Mr. Trump he drew a straight line between her actions and her lack of actions and her fitness for office. That's the difference here. And the difference is that when she had to defend her husband's attack of Obamacare as, quote, the craziest thing he's ever seen, she couldn't do it. When Donald Trump raised the fact that Hillary Clinton had referred to millions, tens of millions of Americans as, quote, deplorable and irredeemable, and she said, no, I made a mistake. He said, no, you apologized for the number. She said, no, I meant you're deplorable. Well, you know what, lady? In the comfort and confines of a donor event here in New York City, that's not what you said. What you said was that his supporters are baskets of deplorables. So she really was getting stuck on her own words, and I think she's just so insulated that she believes whatever she says is true and will work. And I can't help but think that she was given similar advice to what was reported to be given to Mitt Romney in 2012 after he clearly won the first debate against Barack Obama, Sean, and it's this: hey, you're ahead, you're going to win, sit on your lead, don't drool on the stage, don't make any mistake, and you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And that is an error. If that was the advice she was given, it was bad advice, because Donald Trump came to play, and he came to expose her as everything that's wrong in a system where people want true change.
You know, I wondered, and you're on the inside, and I don't know what the answer is. I mean, was this just his decision in the first debate? I even saw at the beginning of this debate, when he's unfit for office, I even saw restraint to a point, and then she pushed it so far, he said, okay, the gloves are off. I can't just sit here and be a punching bag. And,
well, that's right.
And at that moment, a switch went off. And at that moment, Donald Trump became Donald Trump, and he stayed that way for the next 85 minutes. And that was the end of the debate.
And that's the Trump that people wanted to see. You have all these pundits today saying, oh, he only appealed to his base. Okay, can we dissect that for a moment? He only appealed to his base. Independents and moderate women don't care about the failures of Obamacare.
Well, wait a minute. That's not true, because Frank Luntz had a focus group of undecided voters, and he won that debate 18-4.
Big time.
And
yep.
if I had a chance to talk to him before the debate, I would have said to him, you want to win Frank Luntz's focus group. That's your audience.
Indeed. No, it was very effective. And, Frank Luntz's focus group had a very different result after the first presidential debate. But, Sean, that's the point here. The idea that Donald Trump's performance is being dismissed today as never getting past his 40% base, never going that base, is nonsense. He was talking to her about her failures in foreign policy and national security that affect all of us. The Russian reset was her idea, that goofy stunt she pulled walking over the stupid reset button across the podium, pulling a full Rick Lazio. And it backfiring on her. The idea that she did not listen to the 600 and some entreaties from Ambassador Stevens and others just to give them some more security. The idea that she go ahead and set that red line in Syria, and now, frankly, that Syria is a complete disaster zone. It's very sad, the humanitarian crisis there. Nobody holds her account for the red line that she and Obama said they were drawing. So there's so many gaps in her record and so many things to hold her to account that it is ridiculous when somebody says he's just playing to his base. Obamacare, as you and I know, the gift that kept on giving in 2010 and 2014, down ballot for a Republican candidate, because it was the best way to show how intrusive, invasive, expensive, and expansive the federal government had become. We just couldn't use it in 2012 because we nominated Romneycare. And so, but that too, I loved what he did on that last night. She really had no defense. She reverted to that pedantic, wonky, lawyerly, nobody even listened to what you're saying kind of response. And nobody really knows what she thinks about Obamacare, but we know what America thinks about Obamacare.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Will we see this Donald Trump in the third and final debate?
Well, sure. I mean, I see this Donald Trump every day. So I'm
By the way, every time I've been around him, that's the one I see.
Yes. I mean, so that was he on the stage last night. There's no reason to think he won't be there on October 19th in the same fighting form, and fighting with a purpose, by the way. Not just fighting to pick on her and ridicule her, and it was with a purpose. I think voters benefited greatly from listening to him lay out the contrast on the issues and really casting doubt on her performance, her service in public life to date. Why is that important? Because essentially she's saying, I want to keep the kind of job I have, the kind of government position I've had, and just get a promotion where you taxpayers are paying me, my pension, my gold-plated health care, then we'll get some speaking fees and no longer be, quote, dead broke, we'll be quarter billionaires. People have to understand what they're getting, be reminded that they don't like what they would be getting with Hillary Clinton, and that Donald Trump promises disruptive change. I mean, the other thing I learned last night is that she could not take, 8 years later, she could not sufficiently answer that question about the 3 a.m. call. She thought she had him about the 3 a.m. tweeting, and he basically said, yeah, you bragged about being available for the 3 a.m. call when you were in the primary against Obama, and then you got it one day. You got the 3 or 4 a.m. call, and it was from Benghazi, and you lied to your daughter. I mean, you lied to us. You told your daughter the truth. You lied to the families. I mean, it's just masterful.
Yeah, it was an incredible night, and one I don't think we'll ever see a presidential debate in our lifetime as unbelievably substantive and also raw like this in a positive way, because a lot of what was said last night needed to be said because the media is so biased and corrupt. Anyway, thank you, Kellyanne. Great job, and hope you get a little bit of sleep tonight. I hope I get a little bit of sleep. I'm dead too. All right, thank you.
Take care.